Hey, everybody, we are live and we are so excited for this live. We've been planning this for the longest time, and I hope that you're excited too. Um, I'm Erin Schertz, the marketing manager for RootsTech, and I'm really excited to be here today with our special guest, Cy Foster of A Bountiful Kitchen. She's known for so much more than that, and I'll get into that in a minute, but one thing that we're really happy to do today is announce a collaboration that we've been working on for a couple of months now, and we're bringing it to the global stage. And before we announce what it is that we're doing, I'd like to introduce our guest, Cy Foster. So, personally speaking, I've been following Cy for a long time because I love food, I love family, and I love everything that she's all about and her whole vibe. She is awesome, and you're about to learn why. She's the mother of 4, grandmother of 8, and has been married to her husband Grant for 41 years. So that's goals right there. They met in St. George at Dixie College back in the early 80s, and I live in St. George now, so we have a lot in common. Cy and Grant served recently in the Spain-Barcelona mission as full-time senior missionaries. And they had a really unique mission because they were there during the COVID time. So they were nearly quarantined for their entire mission, which is such a unique experience to have. And a lot of people share that with them at that time too. Serving as mission companions was one of the sweetest and most rewarding things that they've done in their lives. Cy started her food blog, which is called A Bountiful Kitchen, in 2008. And she did it as a way to share recipes with her friends and family. And it's been so popular that it's grown into a full-time job over the years. If you haven't followed it yet, go follow A Bountiful Kitchen on Instagram and her blog as well. And I think there's a link in the bio on Instagram where you can get to all of her links. There's so many awesome recipes on there that you have to try. I've already made 3 of them, and they've all been hits with my family. Actually, let me show you the cookbook while we're at it. She is a cookbook author, and I had to buy it when I found out because I love cookbooks, and this one is amazing, you guys. There's so many awesome family recipes. Not only that, there are stories behind them. And as you know, at RootsTech, we're all about preserving our family history and helping others to learn about how to remember your roots. And there's really no better way than to think about food and what role that plays in your family's lives. So Cy was also born to a Japanese mother and a Utah native father who was from Delta, Utah. And she became active in the church before she met Grant and acknowledges that every good thing in her life is coming from living the gospel of Jesus Christ. We are so happy to have her and to collaborate with her. There really is no better person to collaborate with on this than Cy. So without further delay, I know you're all dying to understand and know what it is that we're doing with this collaboration. I'm going to turn it over to Cy to tell you all about what we're doing, and you're a big part of it too. So pay close attention because there's a lot in store for all of you that are watching.
Thank you, Erin. It's so fun to be here with the RootsTech family today, and I'm really excited to be a part of this project. So we are working on a RootsTech Global Family Recipe Cookbook, and this will be something that people from around the world can submit recipes, and we need to recipes. So we are looking for submissions that are your favorite family recipes. They can be maybe your grandmother's special spaghetti sauce, or your aunt or your cousin's famous recipe for guacamole, or maybe you have a recipe yourself that in your own family you have started the tradition of taking to every family gathering. So we're just looking for recipes that we want the recipe and then also the story behind the recipe. And I just love, as you can see, behind me, the recipe books that I've collected. My very favorite of all the recipe books I have are the recipes that tells stories, where the story is attached. And so I'm just so excited to see these recipe submissions come in, because we want to hear the story behind the recipe. And then I think this is really fun too. We want to have either a photo of the food, a finished product, or of your family making the recipe, or maybe the person that made the recipe famous in your family.
And if you're nervous about taking photos, just hold on tight, because Sai is going to give us some tips in a little bit so that you can take the photos that, I mean, look at these beautiful photos. I just have to show you guys some. This was the first recipe I made. And one of the reasons was because the photo looked so good. And so I think you took this with your iPhone, right?
No, most of those are taken with a DSLR, but my photos that I use on my Instagram account, a lot of times those I just take with my iPhone. So you can take really amazing photos on your phone, as well as with a camera, a DSLR.
I know, and it's just like a few things to think about when you do, and we'll also type up those tips for you in the comments. And just as a reminder, as we're launching this and talking about it, please ask your questions in the comments, and we'll make sure that we get to as many as we can. If you're watching the replay, still ask your questions, because we are looking at these all the time, and we'll make sure we get you answers. So here's something really exciting. We aren't just putting together a cookbook, because that's really fun and amazing, and we're excited for all of you to have this e-cookbook that we're putting together. By the way, it is global, and we also are going to have ways that you can do an auto translation and metrics translation on the page. So if you're worried about creating something from another country and you don't know that language, don't worry. There will be ways for you to be able to read and understand what you're creating. But as well, and some of you may remember, because we've done a live with them before, there is a company that we love so much, and it was created by two sisters, and the name of the company is Relive Designs. And I'm not going to steal the words from their mouth, but I'm just going to tease it before we show you a short, less than 1 minute video where they're announcing their part in this collaboration, and it's a gift for you for submitting your recipes. So I'm going to let them say it better than me. Can you guys hear the sound? I don't think the sound is playing. Don't worry. These lives, sometimes we have to do some technical things. And our mods on the back end are managing it. And I think Annie needs to be here to have the sound. I think you're right, Annie. This is real life, you guys. Annie, try bringing yourself back on the screen. I think that might help.
All right, let's try it.
Let's see.
Hi, everyone. We are Marky and Mari, sisters and co-owners of Relive Designs. Here at Relive Designs, we are known for preserving handwriting. We create custom engraved heirloom pieces for you to pass on to generations. Our mission here at Relive Designs is keeping memories alive. As she mentioned, we take handwriting, things such as recipes, and we create custom pieces to preserve the handwriting as well as display it beautifully in your home. We are so excited to be collaborating with RootsTech on this project of the Global Family Recipe Cookbook, and we cannot wait to see the recipes you submit. The first 100 people to submit a recipe will get one of our wooden keepsake spoons with a special message from RootsTech. Along with that, there will be a drawing for everyone who submits a recipe, and we will be giving away 2 of our custom charcuterie boards with your family's recipe on it. So get to submitting your recipes.
I love these women, and I love what they're doing for preserving family history. And we're so excited that they're willing to collaborate with us in this way. So get to submitting your recipes. As a reminder, and what they went over, for the first 100 recipes that are submitted, the first 100 will receive that wooden spoon, and it's going to have a special engraving on it that we will reveal to you at a different time soon, though. And then also we will receive recipes until December 31st. And for the month of January and February, we will be putting this book all together and sharing some of the recipes along the way too, so that you guys will have a little to look forward to. During that time, January and February, that's when we'll give away the charcuterie boards. I'm probably saying that wrong. Sai, you might know better than me. How do you pronounce that? I always get it wrong.
You know what? I looked it up once because I did a whole post on how to build a charcuterie board, but I was told it was charcuterie. So
charcuterie. Okay. I'm going to remember. And by the way, I love them. So it's kind of funny that I can never remember how to say it, but charcuterie board. So 2 of them, and that's personalized. So you can actually send us an image of your favorite family recipe that will be engraved on that board and sent to you. And they are beautiful pieces that you will cherish forever. So they're awesome. So that is how it's working. Now, a little bit of tactical, we need to tell you how to do it. For this week, we're going to have you submit your recipe, story behind it, and photo. And again, it can be a photo of the food. It can be a photo of the ancestor it's known for, maybe a family gathering that you always ate this dish at, like Christmas time or whatever it is, and the story behind it to jamie.lundquist@familysearch.org. We just put it in the chat here so that you'll know where and who to submit your recipes to. So make sure that you're submitting them to Jamie. And then in about a week, our form will be up so that you can just submit them through the website. But we're also going to put here a link to the page where you can get more information on this giveaway and this collaboration. Again, we're so excited to work with all of you on this and to deliver a beautiful global family recipes cookbook when all is said and done. We just feel really strongly about preserving family history in this way. And we hope that you'll join us in this journey. And we're excited that you're here. So with that, I think that there was some issues streaming to some of our platforms. So I don't know if we have any questions. But are there any questions from anyone or for our moderators, Jamie and Annie? Have you noticed anything come through on RootsTech that you can put in the chat? I always think of questions afterwards
I'll just comment on the handwriting on the spoon and that product where you get to have your recipe in your handwriting on the charcuterie board. That is so fun. In my cookbook, I wanted to put handwritten notes next to some of the recipes. And this is so funny because we started out, I have this whole team of people that worked on the cookbook. And so we would put little notes, like, just like your grandma would write on a recipe that would say,
"That's right here."
Yeah. What does that one say, Erin?
It says, this is the jalapeno cheddar cheese ball, and it says Grant's favorite appetizer of all time.
Okay, and it is. He can eat one of those for a meal. So it's funny because I think sometimes we worry about the wrong things, because when the cookbook was almost ready to go to print, I looked at some of those handwritten notes and I said, oh, the person that was designing the cookbook and putting it together, she has handwriting like a font. She is just amazing. And I said, Lauren, let's switch these out and have you write these notes. And she said, absolutely not. This is a heritage project, and your kids and grandkids are going to want to see your handwriting, not mine. And so I love that those products that the Relive design is doing are in handwriting. I just think that is so special. And so things like that are what connects us to family and to our stories, right?
It really is. And when I first saw their pieces with the handwriting etched on something, it made me emotional, because these days there's so much digital communication that we miss that. And it reminds me of my grandma and my mom, because they would send me birthday cards handwritten. And these days I get a shout out on Facebook, and don't get me wrong, I love that for my friends, but it is so cool. It makes you think of the person when you see their handwriting on a piece of, these are pieces of art. Yeah.
Right.
No, that's great. Looks like we've had a few questions come in. Let's see. What is your favorite? This is for you, Sai. What is your favorite recipe that you make?
Oh gosh. There are so many. Probably the recipe I make most often that I have memorized is the tried and true chocolate chip cookie. And it has a family story behind it. It was a recipe that I developed when one of my sons was going out with a friend of his every Sunday night, and they would pick a few people to take treats to that they felt like, maybe they hadn't seen them at school that week, or maybe they lost an election, or, or maybe it was something to celebrate. They went around mostly to cheer people up. And so my friend Erin and I would switch off making treats for them to take. And I got so tired of making chocolate chip cookies that would turn out one time and then they wouldn't turn out the next time. And it was so frustrating to me. So I just set out to develop a cookie that worked every time, that you didn't have to chill first, that you could just make, and it would work every time. And so that's what we call the tried and true chocolate chip cookie. And I make it all the time. And I love that it has that story behind it that connects my son and his best friend to that recipe. So it will always, to me, it will always have so much more meaning because it's a recipe with a story behind it.
Okay, I love that because I almost made those on Sunday, but instead my daughter wanted to make your snickerdoodle recipe. And we took it to two of our neighbors. One had her baby yesterday. So these are memories, right, that we're making. And I let my 9-year-old do the whole thing. And then my 6-year-old wanted to help, and the 3-year-old, and they loved dipping in the cookies and the cinnamon and sugar. And it was just so cool. Yes, I love that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really fun.
Yeah. Those recipes all, they mean so much more when they have a story and a connection to you. And now, I tell people all the time, they'll say, "Oh, I made your chocolate chip cookie recipe or your snickerdoodle recipe." And I'll say, "No, that's your recipe now because it has your stamp on it. And that's a part of your family story now."
I know. Isn't that a really cool thing to be able to share and help other people create their own memories too? It's like the gift forever, right?
Right.
Okay, looks like we have another question from YouTube from Yvonne Boss. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. I'm from the Netherlands. So awesome. And a senior service missionary for Family Search. Oh, thank you so much for your service. We're so grateful for you. Can I send in recipes from grandmothers on both sides? Absolutely. And we would love that. I think that there's something amazing that happens when a family comes together through marriage and through relationships and brings both sides of things. I love, Sai, in your bio, how you mentioned your mother's from Japan, your father's from Utah, and what a great cultural legacy that is on both sides, and so much to share. So yes, the answer is please do. We would love to have both in our recipe book. So yes, thank you.
Fun.
Okay, this would be a great one for you, Sai. This is from Danny Ike on YouTube. Do recipes need to be pre-written, passed down, or can it be word of mouth family recipes that we write down for the cookbook?
I think any of those will work.
Yes.
Of course, you'll need to write it out or type it out when you submit it. But yeah, I think anything that has meaning to you, that recipes that are passed down. I mean, we have so many recipes that we use and now my children use in their homes, and their children are now making those recipes. So yeah, I think, and the word of mouth family recipes, I love that too, because sometimes I've noticed, especially with older people, they'll say, "Oh yeah, you just throw these things together. It's these 5 things or whatever." And until you really put the pen to paper or type it out, it's not going to be preserved. So yes, definitely write those down and, of course, test it out, write it down, because when we publish this, we want it to work for other people too. So yeah, exact measurements would be good. And sometimes I would just say, because I've dealt with this a lot, where I'll take a recipe that my mom made or Grant's mom made or his grandmother, and I've watched them make it. My mom's fried rice is a perfect example. I've watched my mom make that for years, but until I really kind of nailed down, like, let's write this out exactly what it is, so my kids can make it, I can make it. Yeah, really important to write those things down.
I love that. And if you guys need help writing anything down or figuring out how to submit it, if it's like what Sai was saying, if it was just kind of in someone's head and they threw it together, reach out to us. That email above, or if you decide to use the form on the website, in the comments, you can say, hey, I need some help figuring out how to do this. We are happy to help you preserve that recipe for your posterity and for the Global Cookbook too. So thank you. So many fun unwritten recipes within families. This is so great to help preserve things. Yeah, thank you. We think so too. And that's one of the reasons that we're doing this. Food brings family together. Food and family. I'm like switching them out because they're really synonymous in many ways. And so I think that when we're thinking about family history, when we're thinking about genealogy, food is a huge part of it that's often missed. Sometimes we get our thoughts in records and census and, ship records and all of these places. And those are also important, but the food brings the life to things and something that you can create now as well to help remember the past. So it's really amazing in that way. Okay, this is from Alinko22 on YouTube. How many recipes will make up the cookbook? Can I submit multiple family recipes? Yes. And we don't know because we're not sure how many we will receive, but we're excited to find out. So
yeah, and I think you should, just send in as many recipes as you want, because I'm sure you've all seen like neighborhood cookbooks where there will be 6 recipes submitted for snickerdoodles or chocolate chip cookies. And, usually you're not going to want to put all of those in one publication. But if you have one recipe that maybe no one else submitted, then, that's a bonus for compiling the cookbook, because maybe there will be 100 chocolate chip cookie recipes, but only one for overnight cinnamon rolls that you always made, when your family gathered for the holidays. So
yeah, I love that. I think that's a great tip. Okay, so before we finish, love for your tips on photography, so that those that are a little intimidated and sending in photos can feel more confident in their creations.
Yeah, it's really so important to look at the lighting that you're using. A lot of times people will ask me, I'm not a trained photographer. I just am self-taught, and I've used, a Canon camera for, it's not right here. It's put away right now, but for a long time. And I just figured out how to use that. You do not need to use anything but your phone. Your phone will take, most phones today will take incredible photographs. And so tips for taking really good photographs, whether you're taking them of family members or of the food, the finished dish itself, or maybe the process, a variety of photos would be really good to have for the cookbook. So one thing you can do that's super simple is to lay out all the ingredients needed for the recipe that you're submitting. Lay out all the ingredients before you start and just kind of look at it, and don't crowd things too close together. It's good to have a little space, white space in between items. And maybe we could do a little post and share on this, because it's really kind of, I think for a lot of people, it's kind of intimidating. And as you mentioned, and so I would say the number one tip is to use natural light. So as you can see today, like I have natural light coming from outside, just shining right on me. I have no lights on in my house. As soon as you turn on a light, you get a whole different look. And so when you're taking photographs of food, for the first thing to do is turn off all the lights in your house. And you want to take it, of course, when there's still some natural light. Depending on how much light you have coming in, you may need to get right next to a window, and then just set up your finished dish right next to a window. You can take it out on a porch. Don't take it in direct sunlight. You don't want the direct sunlight shining, or it will be very harsh, and you won't get the best photographs. So in the shade, an overcast day is the best day to take photographs. But in the shade, not with direct sunlight coming down. Look at your dish. If your dish is very yellow, if it's something like a loaf of bread or a casserole or something like that has a lot of cheese on top, you may want to take a portion out and put it on a dish so you can kind of see the rest of the dish. Or if it's a loaf of bread, you may want to slice it so you can open it up and then see the white part of the bread and not just the brown top. You can use a few props, like just take out any, if you're using a spoon, like the wood spoon that was being shown earlier, wood is really good. You want to kind of look at the surface, look at, see if you've got like some contrast in color, some dark and light, and then put in different textures. If you can, just look through your drawers, you'll find wood, or if you're using anything metal, like serving pieces or spoons or knives or forks, anything like that. Sometimes I just go to the DI and buy something that is tarnished, something that is dull instead of shiny. And then if you can throw in something with some texture, like just a cloth napkin or a dish towel, then it kind of softens it up a little bit. So don't get too close to the food, kind of pull back and get a little bit of the white space as well.
These are such great tips. I want to go to the DI right now and look for things that I can put in.
I go there sometimes to buy like certain pie tins. I mean, a lot of the things that are shown in my photographs are things that I bought secondhand.
Yeah, no, that's such a great tip. And to your point earlier, because this is such really great information that I think a lot of people can use as they're thinking of what recipe they want to submit, we will do a post with these tips and some examples for you to help with that process. And of course, if you have any questions, please let us know. We did have a few technical difficulties. If you're watching us on Facebook, then we originally didn't start on Facebook. So I just really quickly want to again announce what it is that we're doing here and why we're here on this live. For a long time, we've been planning this because we've been so excited to partner with Cy Foster. You may recognize her from A Bountiful Kitchen. That is her food blog, Instagram account, and also she's created a recipe book called A Bountiful Kitchen. And you can go follow her on A Bountiful Kitchen, and there's a link to all the other resources that she has. She's also a wife, a mother, a grandmother, a wonderful chef, an author, a friend. She's amazing. And she just served a mission in Spain and comes from Japanese and Utah heritage and has so much to share, especially when it comes to culinary heritage, which, of course, if you're following us on Family Search or RootsTech Facebook, it's probably because you're into family history, right? So that is why we're doing this project. And I'll let Sai kind of tell you about what the project is now that I've given you a little bit more information about her.
Okay. This is the global, a RootsTech global recipe book that we are compiling, where we need your recipes to put into this book that is going to be a collection of family recipes with stories, the stories behind the recipes. So we want you to submit the recipe. So it's a kind of a 3-part thing. We want the recipe, your family recipe. We want the story behind the recipe, why it's something that your family treasures and maybe serves at every family gathering or holiday, or whether it's you go to a lake once a year and you always take this certain pasta salad, or maybe something that you eat every Easter or at a family picnic. We want to have those recipes. We want you to submit those recipes with the recipe, the story, and then also a photograph of either the finished dish or making of the dish, maybe family members making of the dish, or the gathering. I think it's really fun to see photos of your family gathering where you're serving this dish. So, because, traditions vary so much between families and different groups. So it's really fun to see the story behind the recipe and the photos behind the recipe.
Yeah, it definitely is. We just ran across one the other day as we're preparing for RootsTech. There's so many fun things coming. And I did see a question earlier about when will this cookbook be available. Our goal is to have it completely compiled and launched at RootsTech 2024. So get excited. That starts on February 29th. We hope we can see all of you there. We will have it as an ebook for sure. And one of the reasons for that is it's global. So we anticipate we'll get recipes in different languages with different metrics, and we'll have conversions that are really easy for you guys to just click on a button and see the conversion in that way, or the translation in that way. But don't worry, because during the month of January and February, we will tease a few of the recipes here or there so that you can get a feel for a few of the things that you'll find in the cookbook once it's compiled completely. So it's coming there. For those of you that also didn't see, there's a collaboration happening with Relive Designs, where for the first 100 people that submit a recipe with a story behind it and a photo of some kind that's connected to that recipe, we will send you an amazing heirloom wooden cooking spoon, and it has a special message from RootsTech on it that will be engraved on it.
It's so cute too.
Isn't it like that?
The shape of the spoon is so fun.
I wish I could show the whole thing, because it has a little message on it that we can't quite reveal yet that has to do with RootsTech 2024. But it's going to be really special, and it's kind of a collector's item, and there will only be 100. So once 100 recipes are submitted, and we will do those by the time that they're submitted. So once we've had 100 submitted, then that's it. Now, if you submit multiple recipes, you'll just get 1 spoon. So we will just count, like if you submitted 5, you'll get 1 spoon for those 5. But I'd really encourage everyone to submit your favorite 1 recipe or 2. We answered a question earlier. Can I submit 1 from each side of my family? Yes, we would love that, especially because we want this to be globally represented. And someone asked how we're going to culturally make sure that people know what culture the food is from. We will have some organization in the book so that you'll know what culture the recipes are from too. But definitely submit. If you have questions, you can always put them here. Even if you're watching the replay, we will get to your questions. You can also email your recipes, stories, and photos to jamie.lundquist@familysearch.org. Her email address is in the comments above. And there's also a web page on rootstech.org that explains all the details of this, has more information, and you can submit questions there too. So don't worry, we've got your back if you have any questions about this process. And we're so excited to create this with you. And with Sai, thank you so much for partnering with us on this project. We're so honored.
I'm so excited. This will be really fun.
I know, I can't wait to see what we get.
No.
Now the fun part begins. Great. Well, thanks everyone for joining us again, and have a wonderful day. More to come. Bye.